Hello and welcome back to Suspended Animation. I'm your host, Dennis Batholkus, and this is Happy Season 2, Episode 7, Arlo and Marie. Um, I'm kind of surprised they didn't name it Donnie and Marie, you know, just because that's how they are, you know, somewhat for some of these episodes. So, yeah, I'm just very surprised they didn't go that way. So, before we get started, of course, spoiler alert. I am going to spoil the shit out of this episode. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section, and we'll go from there. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. And, um, yeah, I don't know where I'm at with this one, to tell you the truth. This season, yeah, I know they didn't have a lot to work with because, of course, the first season was based completely on the limited series comic book, which was only 4 issues, and they didn't know where to go with this. But and let me do the recap first, and then we'll get into this a little bit. So Blue, of course, was getting thrown off the building by Pink, of course, Big Pink. And we see him wake up in Wyoming thinking he's in heaven. And of course, who's waiting there in his little cabin for him? But Orcus is there and tell him how, people have offered him everything, their wives, children, all this kind of stuff, just to not die, that kind of thing. And he goes, "You went out on your own terms." He goes, "I'm impressed by that." He goes, "But we didn't die." He says, "Your body's still alive, but one of us had to die." And he goes, "And I'm going back up," is what he says. And so he leaves Blue in his own little hell with versions of his family and his sister decaying and smelling and just stinking. And that's where he leaves him. And I don't think we've seen the last of Blue, to tell you the truth. I'm pretty sure we're going to see them again. See him again, I should say, not them, but him. So then we get Nick and Amanda, of course, where we left them off at Purapalooza, and Nick lifts up his mask, and she sees him, and she tells him that she's pregnant, and he's like, "What?" And he says, "Do you know who the father is?" She yells out, "No!" Just kind of very happy about that, quite frankly. So the bug ends up seeing Nick because Nick now has his face he's got the mask up, and you know, basically has the Wishies kick his ass and tell the Wishies that they're keeping Amanda. They know she's pregnant and everything, and they're going to keep Nick away from her. So the Wishies just start kicking his ass, and of course he's lost his gun because his gun was switched out for a dildo. Because this show really likes to whip out the big stuff, shall we say? They really do, actually. Now that I think about it, it's been quite a bit of phallic stuff going on in these seasons and these episodes. And he gets out only by finding his gun and then holding it to Amanda's belly, telling him that he's gonna, blow the fetus all over the room. Well. And they the bug, of course, doesn't believe him at first, and Nick, of course, says, "Yeah, I'm crazy enough to do it." He goes, "Remember, if you throw an orgy, you got to be prepared to get fucked." And that's how he gets out of there. And then we have Happy and Bo Peep the next morning, of course, and the afterglow, if you will. And Happy's just trying everything he can to get her to stay, and she's trying to get the hell out of there, of course. And yeah, it's an ugly scene for the most part. And she even tells him, she goes, "You're as green as a frog with chlamydia, aren't you?" And he says he's gonna make pancakes so they can get some more carbs going, so they can have another round. And she's like, "Yeah, no, I gotta get going. It was good, but it wasn't that good," kind of thing. So yeah, kind of messed up. So Nick ends up bringing Amanda back to his place, which is really Meredith's house that she's selling. And Amanda's still tripping balls for the most part. She's kind of all over the place, and she starts to drink straight vodka from the bottle, and he freaks out, knocks the bottle out of her hand, and goes, "What about the baby?" And she's like, "What about it?" kind of thing. And um, he finally gets her to kind of settle down downstairs, runs upstairs to change, and he runs into Happy, who of course is sitting on the bed smoking, and Happy's like, "Hey, can a guy get a little privacy?" kind of thing. And so he starts telling Nick that what happened, that he'd lost his virginity, of course. And he goes, "Oh, I'm happy for you." He goes, "By the way, Amanda's pregnant. She's downstairs. Sunny Shine, Smoothie's still alive. He's working for Sunny Shine. The Wishies are actually monsters, and that's what I need to do. So, see ya. Gotta go. Bye." Yeah, exactly. Viking bitch. I'll get to that in just a second too. So that whole thing about him just kind of, imparting all this information to Happy, and Happy kind of going, "What the fuck? Really? That all happened?" And yeah, it was pretty funny. So he goes back downstairs to Amanda, and Amanda's kind of daydreaming, saying how she's just kind of imagining them. Arlo and Marie is what she says. And he's like, "What?" He goes, "I haven't heard that in a while." And she starts talking about that she was daydreaming about this being their house, and all the good times they had. And she started remembering about the good times, not the bad times. And she starts to unbuckle his pants. And who walks in through the door but Haley? Yeah, Haley, who's supposed to be with Grandma, but Grandma, of course, fell asleep, so she left. Yeah. So they're gonna have breakfast, of course, together as a family, or lunch at this point, considering how late it is. And he actually tells Nick tells Amanda, "Don't tell her about the pregnancy. Keep it our little secret." And Amanda's like, "Oh yeah, okay, let's keep it our little secret." And then she blurts it out to Haley that you're going to be a little, you're going to be a big sister. You're going to have a little baby, that sibling. And Haley kind of freaks out for a little bit and says, "Wait a minute, who's the father?" And Nick's like, "That's still kind of up for debate at the moment." Yeah, they are really not helping Haley's mental health. There's a whole running theme going on that I've finally kind of figured out about this season. Is it's mental health is really what it's supposed to be, and destroying of mental health when you're younger. And this has to do with Orcus as well. So we'll get to that in a minute. In the meantime, Meredith visits Asunta, who had killed, of course, Blue's sister, and she's in prison, Asunta. And she wants to tell her, she goes, "What the hell, happened? Why did you kill his sister?" And she goes, "But you've been there for everything. You know all this dirt on everything." And she goes, "Why don't you fill me in a little bit?" And Asanta just kind of laughs and says, "Basically, you don't know anything." And then she tells her all about Orcus and what Orcus has done, through the centuries. That is always sitting around people of influence, people of popularity, that kind of thing, and uses the Wishies, the formless monsters, to do his bidding. And they kill those raise them up and then bring them down, and that crushes humanity, essentially, creating strife, which they feed off of. And so, what Orcus is really going to do is he's been building up Sunny Shine so he can kill him on national TV and destroy an entire generation, including Easter as well, and just basically bring them down and feed off of their misery for the next generation. Yeah, they are saying that Orcus killed Martin Luther King Jr. and JFK and Lincoln. Uh, yeah, it was all him, supposedly. And he was also the one who raised them up as well. He raised all of them up. Hey, movie Finobi, which I thought was kind of interesting. There was an interesting route to take, and you could tell they really didn't. Yeah, and Princess Di as well. Uh, there was a whole bunch of stuff. You could tell they didn't know where they were going with this season, and now they finally kind of got their footing. This was an episode that should have come probably about 3 episodes ago, quite frankly. The other 3 episodes that we had before this were all filler, as far as I was concerned. There's some stuff that was in there, of course, that helped move the story along, but nothing as far as this one did. And this one is actually where you kind of cement things, and it was needed. It really was needed, quite a bit earlier than what they gave us here. I mean, we're in episode 7 here of what, 13? So it is the halfway point, and yeah, we're getting this, but it should have actually been a little bit sooner. And then you can build on Orcus's machinations, if you will. So we see the warden of the prison, getting his coffee and his little cake pop, and he's going, strolling into the prison with his wardrobe bag and his hockey jersey on and everything like that. And as he strolls into the prison and burns the shit out of his mouth on his coffee, he realizes the prison is completely empty and says, "Where the fuck is everybody? They're all gone at this point." And Sunny Shine, we see him come home from his workout. And who does he find playing the piano? But Blue, or who he thinks is Blue. And he freaks out, grabs a fire iron, is going to try, he's calling for the wishies. And of course, the wishies aren't going to come because it's actually Orcus that's driving Blue's body. And explains this to him that, he is Orcus, the god of death. And basically the wishes are his to command, and that he realizes a little bundle of joy that's coming into the world as well. That's one of his, and Amanda is the one who's carrying it. They need to get Amanda back. And of course, Sunny Shine says, "You know what? There's no way you're going to get him from her wife, as her husband, excuse me." Oh, it's been a long day. And he says he's really like a super soldier kind of thing, and he must work out every day, all this kind of stuff. And Blue says, or Orcus says, "You know what? I've got that covered." He goes, "I've got some people that don't mind taking him down." And he opens up the back door and shows Sunny his backyard, which is filled with all the prisoners from the prison. 10 episodes. Really, Pen Farm Girl. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to knock everything around. Only 10 episodes. So here we are. We're episode 7. We've only got 3 episodes left. And this is when they finally get the damn thing in gear. I'm not happy about this, quite frankly. This was something again that they could have done earlier instead of spinning their wheels. And again, I'm just wondering if it's because they didn't have the budget, which normally happens a lot with sci-fi shows. Is you have a really good first season, then you have a messed up second season, then you have a really shitty third season and cancellation, or you don't even get to a third season and you get a cancellation. Um, yeah, I don't know. So Happy ends up trying to sneak out of this lunch because he's going to go and try and find Bo Peep. And Nick's like, no, you're going to have a family lunch with the rest of us and basically treat him like a teenager. And Happy's acting like a teenager, saying, "Well, I'm going to sit here, but I'm not going to like it. I'm going to listen to my beats." And he puts on his headphones, and Nick's kind of pissed about it. And Amanda's been cooking and serves up some orange glop, which we find out is orange juice risotto, which sounds about as appetizing as what it looked like when Nick ate it and almost puked. Yeah, and we see that she starts relaying a story to Haley about because she says, of course, Arlo. She calls him Arlo again, and she goes, "Why are you calling him Arlo?" And she goes, "Oh, well, back when your dad and I first got married, and my wedding ring got smashed with I smashed my finger with the wedding ring on when we were getting some crabs, and I took it off to wash it, left it in the bathroom, blah 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 blah, and he had to go get it back." And she relays this whole story about how the ring was bought, and it was actually engraved. It was bought at a pawn store and engraved with Arlo plus Marie, and that's where this all comes from. So they call each other Arlo and Marie every now and then, and this is from their happier time, of course. So this is again, where was this story like 3 episodes ago? Because now it's just not making any sense, especially with a whacked out Amanda. And I don't know, man. It's just this thing was all over the place. This episode was all over the place, along with the timeline of events. Yeah, it was a sweet story of how her wedding ring was stolen, but at the same time, this could have come earlier. And I know we're sowing the seeds of doubt in Haley and all this kind of stuff, but yeah, there's a better way of going about it, and I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed about this. So he sees Amanda when when he's talking about this story, her hand is kind of shaking. She's grabbing onto stuff, and she excuses herself from the table because she's not feeling all that well, and she wants to, freshen up with a little bit of water. And Nick knows exactly what this is and sends Haley up to go and watch TV upstairs. And when Amanda comes back all kind of perky and everything, he says, "Where is it?" And she's like, "Where's what?" And he searches and grabs the little vial that she got from Sunny. And she goes berserk and just starts tearing up the kitchen, throwing shit at him, wanting it back. And she says she's going to leave him and go back to Sunny Shine, who's more of a man than he is. Which I love how Nick goes, "You've seen his dick?" So, yeah. And again, it was bouncing around in tone just in that scene alone, too. Doesn't want to be comedy, doesn't want to be drama. Viking bitch says, "I don't understand why they keep pushing Haley towards Smoothie. Now he doesn't feel like she can trust her parents, so she's going to be with her new best friend. Why is this? Yeah, I don't know either. Quite honestly, it's all kinds of weird at this point. So we see Happy, of course, surveying the destruction of the kitchen as Nick is trying to explain to Haley that mom's not feeling all that well. And she's not getting it. He's trying to explain to her, and he goes, "Do you understand?" She's like, "No." And he goes, "Here, let me show you." So he brings her out to the garage, and he's got her handcuffed to a chair. He's got Amanda handcuffed to a chair, and she's all happy, like, "Hi, how's it going?" And sweating, of course, sweating bullets because she's going through a little bit of withdrawal at this point. And he goes, "I hate to ask this of you, but can you watch mom for a couple of minutes? I need to go take care of some business." Worst thing ever. So we see Orcus and Sunny dressed up in tuxedos with tails, and they're going to enjoy a private opera um, at the Sunnyshine Tower there. And of course, as soon as the opera starts, Sonny starts playing a video game, and Orcus stops the opera, grabs the phone from him, and says, he basically says the only thing that humans have, that's inevitable is death. He goes, everything else you do in between there is, something that you choose to do. He goes, why waste it playing video games, or watching sports, all this kind of stuff. And he says, why not be he goes, "Do you want to be famous?" is what he says to him. He goes, "I can lift you up bigger than," and he starts naming off all these names, which of course don't impress. He names Captain Kangaroo, the Wiggles, all this kind of stuff, which doesn't impress Sunny Shine until he starts talking about Diana Ross, things like that, which is stuff that isn't endearing to Sunny Shine, what he wants to do. And he's like, "Okay, I like you better than the other guy," is what he says, and agrees to get aboard with this, not knowing that in order to get built up like this, he also needs to die. He's being fattened up to be sacrificed, essentially, and doesn't realize this. So, Happy, in the meantime, Nick is going to have Happy be a lookout, just sit there on the couch and watch. And if anything happens, if he sees anything, to come on and grab him. And in the meantime, he asks Happy, he goes, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And Happy's been waiting for Bo Peep to call him. He's like, "Why won't she call me?" And then he relays everything that happened to Nick. He tells Nick everything that happened to him. Basically, the sex lasted for about a minute. Uh, there was some other stuff too that, yeah, it was pretty messed up. Let's just say that it was a virgin first time. That's all we can just say. And of course, Nick's like, "You know what? You just need to go back out there and find another imaginary friend and tap that ass," as he puts it. And Happy's not getting. He goes, tap that ass." "Well, what do you mean? What's that do?" And finally, Nick's just like, "You know what? You just get involved in your work. Throw yourself into your work." And he goes, "What do you mean? What work?" "Staring out the window, taking a look at what's going on. Tell me what happens if you see anything." And he goes back to Amanda just in time to find Amanda trying to talk Haley into letting her free, and about all the good times they've had and all this kind of stuff. And as Haley starts to, open up her, her restraints, Amanda says, "I've never lied to you." And that's when Haley stops and goes, "You've done nothing but lie to me from the beginning." And she goes, "What do you mean?" And she starts saying, "You even told me about my dad," kind of thing, and just starts going into it. And then Amanda, of course, flips and starts talking about how much of her dad, ruined their life and everything like this. And hey, thanks, Neelis. Uh, But yeah, just how he ruined their life and, how he's a scumbag and a drug addict and all this kinda stuff, and Nick walks in at this point and tells Haley, "Leave." He goes, "I need to take care of this." So he goes, and again, we go serious, funny, and it's not a good tone in this scene. It was really kind of messed up and, kind of disjointed, to tell you the truth. And, when Haley confronts Nick also about lying, he's like, "What are you talking about?" And that's when Happy comes in and he's yelling at Nick. He's like, "Nick, I gotta tell you something." And Nick yells at him, "Just shut up." And Haley thinks that he's telling her to shut up, which she doesn't see Happy anymore. We just realized that her innocence is completely gone and she does not see Happy anymore at all. Amanda might see Happy now because Amanda kind of acted like she did. So I have a feeling that Amanda sees Happy just like Nick sees Happy now, which is kind of interesting that the adults are seeing Happy and the child isn't. And Haley ends up taking off and runs. And of course, Nick goes after, he's before he goes after her, Happy tells him that there's some guys outside. And as he goes running up to the front door and Haley has run out, we see all the prisoners basically swarming the entire house and breaking in. And they're going after Amanda at this point. And there's a gigantic fight scene with all these prisoners coming in and Nick just punching them. And they take Amanda, and, Amanda flips them off as she gets carried out. And then he just starts fighting all these prisoners, and his head hits the junction box, which hits out the lights. The lights start flashing on and off, and so we see still scenes of Nick fighting the guys, like getting punched in the face, and then him ramming their head through the wall, all that kind of stuff. And it's just this huge epic fight scene that's going on. So yeah, 3 months earlier, we get a flashback of Sunny Shine in the hospital with his wishies standing over Smoothie. And he was the one that actually helped Smoothie get his eye back, if you will. But he made a little alteration and wanted the little pink eye. He wanted him to be like a giant bunny. And Sunny says, "You're sick, man." Or excuse me, Smoothie tells him that you're sick. And Sunny's like, "Maybe," kind of thing. And he walks off. And I kind of found it funny that Smoothie was on the opposite end of what he normally does to people. So I don't know if he gained some kind of clarity from that or if he just didn't care because, of course, he did that later on to Scooter as well. So I don't think he learned from that lesson. Although it's kind of a weird scene. If you do this 3 months later, 3 months earlier of what happened to Smoothie and kind of paralleling what he's done to other people and then him kind of learning about that, then why have the Scooter scene at all? It just seems like they didn't know what they were doing again during this whole production, and, yeah, I don't know if they got rushed along or what happened. Yeah, it was very strange and out of place, exactly, Viking Bitch, I don't know. And I'm kinda disappointed. There was a lot of missed opportunities. I think when we go back and look at this whole season, there's gonna be a lot of missed opportunities in this, and, because 'cause I'm liking where the story is going now. It just needed to go there 3 episodes earlier. So he tries to leave, of course, the hospital, and he runs into the Wishies. The Wishies, stop him, but they also talk to him, and they talk to Smoothie, and they tell him to go and see Orcus. And he says, "Who's Orcus?" And, he goes to the prison to go and visit Blue, and Blue's just yelling at him, just like, "Why the fuck you got the nerve? Some nerve showing up here," and all this kinda stuff. And Smoothie gets up to leave, and Orcus takes over and goes, "No, no, no, sit down. I've got something I want to tell you." And then he says, "We're gonna kill Sunny Shine. Are you interested in that?" And of course, Smoothie is interested in that. And we see him open up the door to his place, and we get to now, and he opens up the door to his place, and who's outside waiting for him but Haley? Haley has knocked on on Smoothie's door, looking for him because, of course, he is now her friend. And of course, Happy sees this. He's been following Haley. Nick told him to go follow Haley. And Happy sees this and he's like, "Oh, fuck no." And he goes back to Nick and he's looking for Nick. And all we see is these piles of prisoners all over the house, doors smashed in, the walls smashed in. And he's yelling, "Nick, Nick." And all of a sudden, we see these bodies roll over and Nick's underneath these bodies. And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "You're not going to believe she's over at the Bunny Eye guy's house, the Bunny Eye guy's house." And Nick's like, "Fuck no." We see him get up, pulls off his, tattered clothes at this point and reaches into a garbage bag and pulls out the old detective gear. So he's got the hoodie with the overcoat, his gloves, his gun, his new scarf, which is Easter themed, and takes a big, big slug off a bottle of vodka. And as Happy puts it, "Well, I guess we're off the wagon." And that is where we're at. So let's see a Viking bitch. Yeah, I know it's a little bit late. So thank you for joining as much as you could here. But yeah, that's where we leave off is with Nick back in death mode, if you will. And this is where we should have been again, like I said, 3 episodes earlier. We were all waiting for this. The PTSD shit we really didn't need. Um, Robert M says it was strange that Amanda was a tragic example of addiction, but it ended with Nick taking a drink. Yeah, like I said, this whole episode, it was where we needed to go, but at the same time had moments in there that just were chaotic and didn't work. They kept bouncing back and forth. And it's just a weird vibe. It didn't gel, if you will. And I don't know. I don't know where they're going with it, to tell you the truth. I don't know if they know where they're going with it either. And yeah, it just hopefully, I mean, now that we got, badass Nick back, like I said, you could have had your first 4 episodes be about Nick, the family life, all that kind of stuff, still having them deal with the aftermath of the Christmas stuff as well, and move the pregnancy a little bit further along in earlier episodes, and still gotten to this point that we're at in this episode by episode 5, not episode 7. But especially since you only have 10 episodes going in. So this would have been the halfway point essentially for this. I don't think we're going to go to season 3 for this series, quite honestly, just because again, they are basically what they're doing to this show. I don't think they had the money for it to begin with. They didn't have the idea, or they got the idea a little bit too late into production, and then they started changing it. So that's where we got that. Remember, there's a whole bunch of weirdness that we had around episode 4. No, episode 4 and 5, where it just felt like they didn't know where they were going. Things were all kind of over the place. I think that was the whole thing. They didn't know where they were going with the story, and now they finally firmed it up, and it's too late at this point. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna finish out the season, of course. I'm gonna finish out doing the reviews of the season because, of course, we only have 3 more episodes to go. Uh, SyFy canceled Drive in theme show last year for this. Yeah, well, the first season was really good, Joe Greer. It was really good, but I can see why Drive got canceled. Drive was a completely off the wall grindhouse show. I liked it. It was up my alley, but I know it wasn't up a lot of other people's alley, and it was just it was weird. It was very weird. So, but then they went along with that whole the creepy pasta show. What was it? Channel Zero. which I like the first season, but then again, you know, yeah. Penn Farm Girl says I'm still liking it, not perfect, but some great stuff mixed in. Yeah, there's good stuff mixed into it, but again, they need to tighten it up, and I don't know if it's just the writers' room or what's going on. Um, yeah, and Channel Zero was really rough at times. The first season is beautiful. I mean, it's actually perfect as far as I was concerned. That first one was a yeah, exactly, Joker. That first season was exactly a masterpiece. It was creepy. It worked well, and it was a coherent story that didn't have any lag in it, which was really good. But yeah, afterwards, it was just weird. And that's what I'm seeing a pattern with now on the sci-fi channel shows is first season really good out the gate, but they don't have a longevity plan for it at all. It's really weird that they okay, you shoot a pilot or yeah, pitch the first season, but you don't have any backup for like a second season or the third season if you get picked up. So really, where are you going with this kind of stuff? So, with that said, I want to thank everyone who's in the chat. Penn Farm Girl, Joe Greer, Robert M. Yes, Sculpted Leather Art by Viking Bitch. And of course, we had a little pop in by Movie Fanobi. And I know Morks is lurking in there too. He was here earlier. So thank you all for joining me this evening. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Also, you can hit the like button. If you don't like what you see, you can hit the dislike button as well. Just I ask that if you hit the thumbs down, go into the comment section, tell me what it is you don't like, give me some constructive criticism. And there we go. If you want to see when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it. You can go into the bell settings and have as much notifications or as little notifications as you want. And you still only have a 50-50 chance of being notified by YouTube on that one. My schedule is up on suspendedfanimation.com and also on Facebook. And I'm on Twitter and on Instagram as well. Penn Farm Girl, Dennis, thumbs up or down to the 100? You know what? I never got into it, Penn. Tell you the truth. I watched a couple episodes and it just wasn't for me. Hey, Ejar. I'm here for you, Dennis. Hope you're doing well. Thanks, Ejar. Yeah, it's been a trying couple of weeks, but I'm doing good. Thanks. And yes, Joe Greer, I know Watchmen is coming. I've got to watch the new trailer that just came out. I've been trapped in work hell all day, so I haven't been anywhere near a computer other than right now. So I might watch it. I'll probably watch it tomorrow because I'm burnt out completely at this point. But yeah, and the Spidey stuff. I did see the Spidey stuff. iZombie is tomorrow, Pen Farm Girl, and hopefully this is a better episode than the first episode. That first episode was just really, really bad. Yeah, and I'm really hoping that this season isn't going to suck because I want them to go out strong. I really do want them to go out strong. And Spidey was awesome. The Spidey stuff was good. I'm liking the Spidey Far From Home. So, but I will talk about a lot of this stuff on Saturday for Saturday morning blast off. But yes, tomorrow is iZombie. Friday is the Doom Patrol. The Doom Patrol. Sounding like the old person that I am. The Doom Patrol. Friday is Doom Patrol. Saturday is Saturday morning blast off. And Sunday, of course, is Game of Thrones. And Monday is the return of the Tick. Sorry, I had to preempt this Monday's Tick. I was just really burnt out and I could not. I was going to end up falling asleep around, in front of the camera. Really didn't need to have that happen. So, with that said, if you're still on the fence, by the way, too, take a look at the videos. Then you can hit the subscribe button if you like what you see. And now, with that said, I want to let you guys go for the evening. Thanks for joining. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. And otherwise, you may end up finding out that your body's getting taken over by a death demon. Good night, everybody.